Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving. Spent time with their families, took time to appreciate the season, get ready for the transition into the Christmas holiday. So, hope everything's going awesome for everybody. I know we're pretty blessed over here. God's been taking care of us, making sure we have everything that we need. So, um, we're definitely grateful for what we have right now. I wanted to just share a story the other day. I went to sell some tools that I had. I bought like this big package of tools, and it came with like bonus things. So I posted online that I had these things for sale, and a guy contacted me, and I went out to meet him. And when I was there, and he was checking the things out, deciding what he was interested in buying, um, he showed me like his shoulder was hurting, and we talked about that a little bit. And so I asked him if I could pray for him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a Christian. Yeah, please pray for me." So we prayed over his shoulder, and he's like, I kind of feel a little something, but that's not really the point. Like he shared with me then after, because I showed him like that, well, the level in which I, trust God, that I believe and I have faith in God, that what He's able to do. That he shared with me a story about his friend who was working up on like a fourth story. Um, these are they're laborers. I don't know if they're what level of construction they're doing, but he was up on the fourth story, and he said that his friend had fallen like all the way backwards and landed, you know, on the base of his skull, the back of his head, that type of area, and there's just like this giant crack, and he's bleeding, and like he got rushed to the hospital, and I don't know exactly like how the timeline went, but he said basically at some point, like he was talking to his friend. His friend shared with him that I don't know if it was when he was falling or like after he had maybe got knocked unconscious or what it might have been, but he said that he just like he opened up his arms and he was like he said, "Lord, just please be with me, whatever happens here." And that's what was inside of him. And he went down and he said like he got a vision of Jesus, and he said, I'm here with you. I'm with you." And so the next part of the story is that the guy shares that his friend, and it was how many, I don't know, I think it was maybe like 3 weeks it had been since the accident. And so this guy's been going to appointments and things like that, and since his one on one with Jesus in his like the time in which he like was fearful or falling, whatever it was, um, 3 weeks later he was just up and walking. There's no damage in his head and his neck or anything like that. Like everything healed without like medical intervention. So just a straight miracle, and you could tell he believed, he knew it. He knew what had happened. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to share that. And that leads into what happened to us on Thanksgiving, actually, which would be another miracle, which I watched unfold right before my eyes. We were at my wife's parents for Thanksgiving, and my daughter was out running around, kind of on her own, and out of nowhere, we heard her just like a thud, and she got, I don't know if you're familiar with kids at all, but when they get really hurt, like legitimately hurt, they'll try to scream and cry, but they won't be able to get a breath. So it's this like lack of air, trying to cry, and it's a total like a sound that you can tell like something is really wrong. And we got her, and like we when we finally figured out what was going on with her, she had like jammed her thumb into a humidifier. But what had happened is like this was like lurched all the way down here, and this bone right here was like flexed up. And I'd broken my hand a couple times before, and when I seen it, instantly my reaction was like, "That's broken." So we got in the car and we headed our way to the hospital. And I was, I always ask God, "Hey, where do you want me to go? What would you call me to do? What is the reason this even happened?" So eventually, He led us to United Hospital in Minnesota, and we went there. And there's like a children's section, a children's portion in the hospital at United. Um, so we went through the intake at the emergency room, and they got us back actually like really quickly. And so they went from like triage to like waiting for maybe just 5 minutes or something like that back to the room. And by the time we got back to the room, the radiologist had already shown up to bring us back to the radiology department. So from just triaging what had happened to her, we didn't even talk to a doctor. They already made the decision, the determination that what they seen was going to require imaging. So and they brought her back like that. So we go back there and we get dressed up. My wife and I were in the lead suits, and my wife is up there holding Natalie's hand. Natalie is the daughter, holding her, um, while she's getting ready to have her like hand manipulated for the pictures of her. And God kind of like led me back into it, like the back corner or whatever. So I'm standing there in my lead apron, and he like tells me to pray, and like he tells me to pray at the point in time when they're going to take the first image, and my daughter's like screaming in pain because like of trying to have her hand in the spot. And so I pray, and the first picture gets taken, boom, and then he says pray again, keep praying. And I prayed with the next image, and as this is happening, her hand is going from, I can't even put my thumb in the position in which it was. It's going from down where it was. The next prayer at the second image, it was like lifted up in part, and he said pray again. And they took a third image, and I prayed during that third image, and I tell you, at the end of that third prayer, her thumb had returned back to just the regular spot on where it would have been. Just like it unflexed itself. It went back into position. And, and so that was it. That was all the pictures that they took. And they brought us back to the room to await the doctor. And by the time we got back to the room, Natalie said that her hand didn't even hurt anymore. And it was just back to normal. And she was playing with the stickers that they gave her. They gave her some like new movies. Like there's some movies that were coming out, so they had some stickers with characters on them. And she's just playing with them, just being regular old Natalie. And eventually the doctor comes in to review the things that had happened, like to look, she talked with a radiologist about the images, and there was nothing to show her. She didn't even get the opportunity to see it before we got brought to the imaging department, and she only seen it after. And so she made her diagnosis, and so by the time we got done here, oh, this doesn't have any like, I hope this doesn't have any critical information on it. All they could diagnose her with was thumb pain. So just through prayer, from a triage, which they said certainly she needs imaging, through prayer and back to the doctor, there was no medical intervention necessary. And I got to see it happen right in front of my eyes. So I wanted to share that with you guys. It's so incredible. All these stories are out here, man. Just talking with a gentleman who's buying some tools for me. He's got a miracle to share. She's got a miracle that, like, they're all over the place. I just want to encourage everybody, like, if you have something, share it. Don't keep it inside. It's not for us. It's for his glory. He did it for a reason. Sometimes it's not just to stand up. He doesn't want really much attention at all. He just needed to make things right. You know what? I'm gonna force him to accept some credit. No more, God. I'm not gonna want you working all these things, and you're not gonna go by not getting the credit. Not while I'm around. And so I just wanted to share like one short reading here. It's from 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18, and gosh darn it, it's pretty well known, but it says, rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Jesus Christ concerning you. Just rejoice evermore, no matter what you're going through. It's written different ways, but to pray without ceasing. Do it in the radiology department. Do it in the grocery store. Do it when you're not sure what you're supposed to be getting the family for dinner that night. Do it when somebody doesn't know how to do it for themselves. Pray without cease. Trust in the Lord. Have faith. So, thank you for listening. God bless you. I hope the holidays go well. Yeah. Take care.